for the sake of those people who will not be able to be joining us because of one reason or the other. And that is it. So welcome back. Today we are having our lesson, and today we are going to look at topic 8. And topic 8 is all about corporate advertising. Corporate advertising. I hope you can see my screen. I want us to look at corporate advertising. And before we look at corporate advertising, maybe we'll do a definition of what corporate advertising is all about. So I will look at the definition of corporate advertising, and then we can kick off by looking at the goals of corporate advertising. Now, corporate advertising is when a company, but before I start, I will start by saying this. I will start by saying that corporate advertising or advertising is one of the strategic public relations activities, and it's one of the strategic public relations activity, and it happens. So when you talk about strategic PR activities, these are activities that PR engages itself in. And if you can look for the definition of advertising, we can actually say that advertising advertising is the process of promoting a product, a service, or an idea to get a target audience through various forms of communication. And this form of communication can be television, it can be radio, it can be print media, online media, and outdoor advertising. So the purpose of advertising is usually to persuade, to inform, or to remind potential customers about the benefits and features of the product or service being advertised, and also to encourage them to take a specific action, such as making a purchase or visiting a website. Sometimes you find that you're being told, if you want to do what? To redeem this coupon, if you want to redeem this voucher, visit our website and register. So advertising, we can also say that it is used to build brand awareness and create a positive image for a company or a product, and differentiate that product from its competitors. For example, you can differentiate between Coca-Cola and 7-Up, or you can differentiate between Coca-Cola products and 7-Up products. You can also differentiate between Pepsi and another brand like Coca-Cola. So the reason as to why we do advertising is also to differentiate a product from another product. When you come to soap, you can differentiate sour soap from what we call geisha. That's why advertising takes place. So therefore, we are saying that effective advertising involves understanding the target audience. Once you understand the target audience, then you develop products and services that fit into their needs. So developing and also developing what we call compelling messages and choosing the right media channel. Once you understand your target audiences, you're able to develop a very good message, you're able to choose the right media channel, and also you are able to measure the results of that particular advertising campaign. So we have looked at that. So then let's look at what is corporate advertising. Now, corporate advertising is when companies spend substantial sum of corporate communication sum of corporate communication with a complex of specialized publics extending far beyond investors in government, the media, and other opinion formers, or maybe trade unions, their own staff, and potential employees. So corporate advertising usually has less to do with pushing a company's good or its shares than to establish what we call pressure, to establish or pressure an environment in which the company can go about its lawful business. So in other words, we are saying that when you do corporate advertising, you are trying to do what? You are trying to make sure that the company's products and services, they are known by the public. And who are these publics? Publics are the publics of public relations. For example, we have various publics according to Jeffkins. For example, we have what we call the community. We have the media. We have the opinion leaders. We have trade unions. We have customers, consumers, potential employees, distributors, suppliers. All these are publics of public relations. And you try as much as possible to do what we call ensure that the organization itself and its products, they are known. So then, what is PR advertising? That is use perspective. PR advertising, as it is known in the US, has been recognized as a tool, to disseminate information or to promote opinion change since 1900. So it is to do what? To disseminate information or to promote opinion change since the 1900s. Since then, many organizations have employed adverts with PR context or with a PR context. So we are also being told that in 1978, King defined non-product advertising as concept advertising, general promotion advert, goodwill advertising, image advertising, issues advertising, promotion advertising or personality advertising, and responsibility advertising. For example, when you talk about responsibility advertising, is when you develop an advert and you're showing it to people or to the public that you do what we call corporate social responsibility. You are actually advertising the organization based on what they did. Maybe they took an initiative to do what? To clean the city. Maybe they took an initiative to do what? To sponsor an event or to sponsor an event, or even to sponsor children from less fortunate family to pursue their academic dreams. Now that is called responsibility advertising. Why are you doing this advertising? You want the public to know what you do. Like for example, if you get to Safaricom's website, you will find the CSR activities that they engage themselves in. So why are they putting them on the website? They are trying to advertise their responsibility, their CSR activities through the website. So then we are saying corporate advertising is almost universally known as the positioning of the company to build public awareness or even to defend the company or organization activity. Just like when you have said, if you visit any organization's website, you'll find that they have put so many things there. They have told you they do CSR activities. They tell you that they also promote small businesses. You will find almost everything from the website. Why? It's because they are doing what is called corporate advertising. They are trying to make themselves aware. I mean, they are trying to make the public aware of what they do and what they exist to do. So that is called corporate advertising. So organizations also include government. Organizations include government, trade unions. We've talked about these are the publics of public relations. We also have civil servants, we have trade associations, and political parties. So institutions or organizations, they use corporate advertising to address issues of public concern and also to establish their own image in the public mind. For example, when you hear of Standard Chartered, what comes into your mind? What comes into my mind specifically is the Standard Chartered Marathon. If you hear of Deto, what comes into your mind? What comes into my mind is the Deto Heart Run. The Deto Heart Run is a CSR activity that happens that they raise funds so that this fund is used to help those people who have got heart problems to be taken care of. Maybe the problem cannot be solved in Kenya or in Kenyan hospitals, and so these people they are taken care of. They go abroad, they are operated on, and they come back. Now, so in other words, corporate advertising is there so that at least there is something that you understand, you can relate with the organization. So all institutions and organizations, they use corporate or PR advertising. So corporate advertising is used to influence public opinion. It is used to influence public opinion. For example, when you talk about equity, with wings to fly, what are people saying about equity kule nje? Nasikia mtu anasema mimi siwezi kutoka Equity. Equity has helped my daughter. She has graduated and they have employed my daughter, something like that. So it is used to influence public opinion around an issue relating to the organization. It can also be used to define an organization's reputation. When you hear of Safaricom with this particular Safaricom Foundation, Safaricom Foundation consists of children and people from different countries. And these people are people with talents, and they nurture those talents. They make you be what you want to be in the future. So in other words, it is used to define an organization's reputation or even to build an awareness of an organization where public awareness is low. So once you see an organization engaging itself into CSR activities, it wants people to be aware that we exist. So what are some of the media for corporate advertising? There are so many. We have, for example, TV is one of the media for corporate advertising. We have journals. If you go to many organizations, at the reception, you'll find that they have published journals. So when you are waiting to be served, you will be reading at home. We also have organizations who have also, many organizations have got magazines, and these magazines contain things that they do, things that they have done, and activities that they are involving themselves into, or they have involved themselves into. We also have periodicals. Periodicals, they have them. Another tool or another what we call another media for corporate advertising is radio. Many organizations use radio to communicate to the public their intentions, their products, their services, and their plans. We also have posters. If you live along Thika Superhighway, as you get to this place called Modaiga, you'll find so many posters. They are billboards. Billboards are a form of posters, but these ones are bigger. You will go to the internet, and also you will see the websites of many organizations. And from the website, you're able to learn so much about an organization. So in other words, those are tools of corporate advertising. And we have others like what we call social media. Many, as we speak right now, yeah, also TV, I think we talked about TV. Right now, you find that many organizations are using social to advertise themselves. And this includes Instagram. Instagram, it is used by many organizations. We are talking about another one is Facebook, another one is Twitter, another one is TikTok, and so on and so forth. So organizations are using these corporate advertising media to pass across message to people, even countrywide and even worldwide. If you go to website, you are going to find a lot of information concerning advertisation. So what is effective corporate? We also have what we call effective corporate campaign. For your campaign to be effective, maybe you are an organization XYZ and you want your campaign to be effective, your corporate advertising campaign to be effective. And one of the key questions that you need to ask yourself is that you need to ask yourself, or you need to pose the following question. I don't know who you are, for example. Or let me read this so that we can understand it better. A well-documented example is one of the most powerful yet effective print corporate advert is McGraw-Hill 1950, one with often the image of a potential customer looking at a reader alongside that image. These are some of the questions. For example, or these are some of the questions or the answers to the questions that you may ask a customer. For example, you might ask a customer, do you know what is XYZ company? The customer might tell you, I don't know that organization. So when they tell you they don't know that organization, then that means that you have to make them aware by using the tools that we have or the media tools that we have just looked at. Sometimes the customer, you may ask them, do you know about our company? The customer might tell you, I don't know your company. I've never heard about it. So it actually tells you where will you begin to make sure that this person actually understands your company and why it exists. Sometimes the customer can respond to you, I don't know your company's product. Maybe it's a new company that has just started, and before you start distributing or giving what we call free samples to customers, then you ask them, do you know this company? Then the customer answers you by saying, I don't know your company and I don't know your company's product. Sometimes we went to even advertise our university, and where we went, we asked, have you ever heard about CITEC University? Some said, no, we have never heard about that university. So what does that tell you as a university? That you need to pull up your socks, you need to look for methods and ways that you can make the public understand why you exist and what you do. Sometimes a customer might tell you, I don't know I don't know what your company stands for, or I don't know your company's record, or I do not know your company's reputation, or customer can tell you anything. Si ati ukiambiwa you don't know our company, you keep on asking, na ndio tuko karibu na nyinyi, ABCD, ABCD. When a customer tells you that he doesn't know you, just be contented with that. Psychological perspective of corporate advertising. We are saying that the advertising industry has a strong links into psychological studies. That's very true, as academic research and theories have been used to try and understand the working of human mind. So from 1946, much of the research and writing about adverts and its effectiveness has focused on number of linear models of consumer behavior in awarding the often cited and still used AIDA. AIDA stands for awareness, interest, distance, and action. So when you talk about advertising, advertising has to do with what we call psychological perspectives. For example, when you see a company advertising some products, it poses what we call a psychological thing, something that will make you think. Like, for example, adverts might use a fear appeal. Organization may use fear appeal. For example, during those times when COVID-19 was so much rampant, you'd see some organization telling you, wash your hands. If you care about your people or your loved ones, just go and have the vaccine. Something like that. Or they tell you COVID kills. COVID is not a joke. Go and get a vaccine. That is a fear appeal. It's trying to instill fear in you so that you see, let me just go and have what we call a vaccine. Have a vaccine. Those are fear appeals. And we also have emotional appeals. Emotional appeals, they may show you, like there was an advert that was running a year back, some years back, but this one was a fear appeal before Christmas, some few weeks or some few months before Christmas. And there were names that were appearing in the screen. The screen would eventually become black, and then you see so many names of people, Kenyan people, Kenyan names. And these names will move slowly, and then there was a very emotional, is it tone or emotional tone, and then the advert would read that don't drink and drive, because if you drink and drive, you are going to join those particular names that are appearing on the screen. So in other words, advertising has to do with what we call psychological perspective, because it tries as much as possible to play with our psychology. So attitudes, I want to look at media campaigns and attitude change. So we are talking about media campaigns and attitude change, and we are saying that Mari in 1977 goes on to support activities of media campaign in changing the attitude. Because we know very well a media campaign can change the attitude towards your product, towards your organization, and towards your services. So the research has found that the main problem was in reaching the intended audience, because people will expose themselves to opinions they agree with and avoid messages that disagree with it. For example, during elections, you'd see people avoiding messages concerning a certain political leader, but they want to listen to messages or communication coming from the political leader that they like. You will also find that people would not want to associate themselves or to listen to messages they don't like. They only want to read messages that they like. For example, in Kenya, in the media, in the Kenyan media, there is something that has hit the headlines, and this is what we call the LGBTQ. LGBTQ, those people who go to church and those who are against it, you find that they don't want to hear about it. But those who are interested, they want to know more about it. They are listening, they are doing their research, and they want to hear more about it. So that's how it is. You find that what we accept what we want, we reject what we don't want. Messages that do not appeal to us, we don't read them. I mean, messages that do not appeal to us, we don't read them, but we only read those messages that appeal to our eyes. Then there is what we call creative influence. Advertising also brings about what we call creative influence. That in the context of psychological studies, corporate advertisers, like their colleagues, in corporate advertising are looking to influence behaviors. They are looking to influence changing of attitudes towards ads. So corporate advertising is similar as steering from a marketing, that is 1994 perspective, stresses. So when, so in other words, we are saying that advert brings about, create what we call influence. Like you will come to realize that how did you, some people will tell you that they became alcoholic because of watching what we call many alcohol-related adverts or alcohol-related movies. Some people will actually tell you that I became a drug addict because of watching drug smuggling series or drug smuggling movies. Some people will tell you that, and that's why you find that in the Kenyan government, some billboards and alcohol-related billboards, alcohol-related posters, they were banned from schools. And if you have such billboards karibu na shule, then unafaa kuzitoa. Otherwise, you will face the law. So in other words, why did they do that? Because they know very well that advert brings about creative influence. They instill a certain influence. For example, imagine a billboard of Tusker or a billboard of a certain alcohol brand being put close to the school, that when you go for lunch, you can see it clearly. And you know, the pictures that those alcohols have, I mean, those adverts have, the pictures are very clear, the picture looks good. And when you look at those pictures, you can say that, you can conclude by saying that alcohol is good. Because those pictures are extremely clear. Those bubbles, when you see them, they are extremely clear, and the bottle looks clean. And you can imagine, if you have never ever tasted alcohol, you can say it is a very sweet thing. It tastes like a mango juice or something like that. Only, and that's why those particular things were banned close to schools or even colleges, but even colleges and universities. Then there is what we call brand equity. Brand equity, strong brands are vested with an enduring power, which can contribute to the survival of the company, even if the product themselves fail. When you talk about brand equity, so when you talk about brand equity simply, it refers to the value that a brand adds to a product or service. What am I saying? Let me repeat. Brand equity refers to the value that a brand adds to a product or a service. And it is the worth of a brand beyond its tangible assets. So what are we saying? That we are saying that brand equity is the result of a combination of factors. When you talk about brand equity, it's a combination of factors. And these factors include what we call brand awareness. It includes what we call brand loyalty. Brand awareness is simply to make sure that your brand is known in the market and by the people and the customers. It's also a combination of brand loyalty. Brand loyalty simply means that some people are so much loyal to a certain brand that if you are told you are used to showering using, or you are used to using this particular soap, maybe Imperial Leather, and you would not want even to use another soap. So unapata wewe ni brand loyal kabisa. If you are, for example, you like Colgate brands, any other brand you don't want to have it. That is called brand loyalty. And we are saying these factors include brand awareness, talked about brand awareness, brand loyalty, perceived quality. You will hear people saying that I don't want any other television unless it is coming from Samsung or LG. That is perceived quality. You perceive Samsung to be of good quality as opposed to other brands, or Samsung phone to be good quality than other. We also have brand associations and other intangible aspects of a brand. So I can repeat by saying this, that brand equity is the result of a combination of factors, and these factors include brand awareness, brand loyalty, perceived quality, brand association, and also other intangible aspects of a brand. So when you talk about brand equity, it can provide competitive advantage. Competitive advantage is simply that when we go to the market, your brand, people will choose your brand as compared to other brands. Many people will choose this brand as compared to any other brand. For example, if it's an electronic, you'll find that people will choose a particular electronic or electronics from a specific company as opposed to another. So majority will choose brand X, Y, Z as opposed to brand ABC, because it has got what we call competitive advantage. So as a customer, customers may also be willing to pay more for a product with a strong brand, or will be more likely to choose a product with a similar brand or a similar product from a lesser known brand. So people, when they see that your product or your brand, like for example, if you talk about a phone, when you talk about something like iPhone, if you compare iPhone with Tecno, people are likely to go for iPhone as opposed to Tecno. People are also, they like iPhone as opposed to Samsung. So if you put them like this in the market and you give them different prices, you say Tecno is going for 20,000, iPhone is going for 50,000. People will go for iPhone as opposed to Tecno because of brand equity. That means that iPhone has got a has got a competitive advantage compared to Tecno. Competitive advantage simply means you don't have to compete much because the brand sells itself, the quality, and so on and so forth. Hope that one is understood. Then we look at the future of corporate advertising. Any question up to that point? Any question? Is there anybody with a question before I proceed to future of corporate advertising? Any question? So when you're talking about the future of corporate advertising, we are saying that corporate advertising is likely to be shaped by several trends and factors. And these several trends and factors include the following, those who are writing. It includes digital transformation. So with the increasing shift towards the digital channel and platforms, corporate advertising is likely to become more digital centric. And this will require companies to invest in creating compelling content and engaging experiences across various digital touch points to actually create attention or attract attention. That's why you see that many organizations are using TikTok, social media like Instagram, Facebook, to ensure that at least their product are known through this particular social media. Another feature of what we call corporate advertising is personalization. So as consumer become more demanding, because as we grow, as we move on, as we move, as the country grows, as organization grows, as people become more aware, consumers are also becoming more demanding and they expect personalized experience. Corporate advertising will need to be more targeted and relevant. I mean, will need to be more targeted and relevant. So in other words, we are saying because people's needs are changing. People's needs are changing. What you liked yesterday, tomorrow you might not like it. It might be obsolete, it might be antiquated or old-fashioned. So therefore, we are saying that as far as corporate advertising is concerned, there is what we call personalization. That as consumer needs are changing, then we expect corporate advertising that it will have to be more targeted and relevant. It will be more targeted and relevant. That the information you are giving people must be relevant and information that can help them. Sustainability is another future of what we call corporate advertising, that with growing concern about the environment and social responsibility, corporate advertising is likely to become more focused on sustainability and ethical practices. So as you advertise your products and services, as you advertise your what we call the company's image, then companies need to demonstrate their commitment to sustainability or social responsibility. And that is it, among many others. So that is the future of corporate advertising. I've tried to summarize all that. Then there is what we call criticism of corporate advertising. And it is argued that large institutions of any kind, any key, I don't know this one. Let me try to look for that, those notes. So some of the criticism about corporate advertising is corporate advertising has been subject to various criticism over the years. And some of the most common criticism is that misleading claims. So you'll find that advertising has been criticized for giving misleading claims. For example, you'll find that adverts, I don't want to mention adverts, some adverts, they tell you that when you use this particular product, your skin is going to be very smooth. When you use this product, within 3 days or 2 days, your health is going to change. But when you use the product, you continue using the product for 10 years, for 5 years, but you don't see any difference. That is a misleading claim. So it has been criticized for misleading people. Number two, corporate advertising has been used or has been criticized for manipulating emotions. So critics argue that corporate advertising often use emotional appeal, like what we have talked about, to manipulate customers into making purchases. For example, when you talk about COVID-19, when you're saying that it will kill your family, and you know very well you love your family, the next thing you will do the following day is to take all your family members to have the vaccine. So if you are told that if you don't get the what we call the polio vaccine, like there is this advert that he used to run on media about a person who was working with what we call who was amputated, and he was saying that if my mother had taken me for a polio vaccine, I would not be amputated. So that is the emotional appeal, and it actually tells you that take your child to get a polio vaccine if you don't want him to look like the man that has just spoken to you. So in other words, you find that there are some organizations that manipulate people's emotion so that these people can actually do what? Purchase their products and services. Number two, the next point is that corporate advertising has been criticized for enforcement of stereotypes. So some critics argue that corporate advertising enforces harmful stereotypes and perpetuates inequality, particularly in relation to gender, in relation to race, body, and image. For example, the media tries to show us that a tall, brown, slender lady is beautiful. That's what the media tries to show us. Even when you look at these fashion shows, you will never find a tough or a fat lady being one of the competitors. We are only shown slender, tall, brown ladies. So whenever we look at what we call corporate advertising, they reinforces stereotypes. You find that no man wants what? A tough or a fat lady. They want those slender ladies or brown ladies. Therefore, they perpetuate inequality in terms of what we call the body image. Like when you look at this particular advert by Nivea, this particular advert by Downy, this particular advert by so many adverts, you'll find that actually like 70% of the adverts that we find on TV, the subject is the people advertising the products are women. Rarely will you find a man being the subject of the advert. And what does that tell you? It is stereotype. It is stereotyping men versus women. And there are so many things. There are so many critics of corporate advertising. I would want you to go and look at them. And I also given different ones from what we call from my notes. And then we have our summary there. We have our summary there. So I will want you to look at types of advertising. These ones you're going to look at them. Infomercial. What is an infomercial? Actually, an infomercial is a long format television commercial, typically 5 minutes or longer, and its purpose is to inform. As they inform, they are doing business. That's why it is called the infomercial. So the main objective of an infomercial is to create impulse purchase. They give you information. Like for example, they can tell you, did you know 80% of men die because of ABCD? And then they tell you that the organization has devised some medicine that will rectify ABC. So after that information, they do a commercial and then you buy because you don't want to be among the 80% of men. And we also have television advert, stroke music in advertising. The music that is played in advertising is meant to create to attract your attention. So once you are attracted, you watch what is going on, and then something like that. So there is radio advertising, press advertising, online advertising, billboard advertising. This one we had talked about, mobile billboards advertising. We have product placement, celebrity branding, and so on and so forth. So unless you have a question here, I'll stop at that point until we meet again. Kuna swali? Anything to do, any question to do with corporate advertising? Questions, reactions? Any question? Chatutaje mtu hapa. Pamela Haemba, any question? Pamela Haemba, can you hear me?
I have no questions.
Thank you. It's good to respond so that we know we are not talking to ourselves. So because there is no question, next week we are going to finalize this syllabus. So next week we'll be having our last topic. Then next week, part 1, you will be having your cut 2. Then from there we meet in the exam. So next week, part 1, you're going to have our cut 2, and then we will meet in the exam room. Now, next week we are going to have our final topic, which is topic 9. Then we call it a day. We wait for the cut, and after the cut, we meet in the exam. So today's topic, there are some activities that need your attention there. Number 1, there is what we call there is a discussion forum. I've unleashed today's notes. You can download them as at now. And then there is what we call a discussion forum and quiz. Discussion forum 8.2 and quiz 8.3. So all those things are open from now until 2. So take your time, do those activities, and then we call it a day. If there is no any question, then I'll stop at that point until we meet next week. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your day and have a great weekend.